Hey, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The More You Mow. I am Jay, and today we're going to start off our 2024 lawn mowing season. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get some soil temperature readings. As you saw in the beginning, we're going to have our pre-emergent and some biostimulants. So let's go ahead and get that started. So here in the Midwest, we're getting to the point now where we can start doing our yard care. The seed I'd used last fall for our front yard overseed was from Site 1, and it was their Kansas Excalibur blend, which is a blend of different types of fescue. The color's great, came in really good, and I think I'll probably use them again next year. So we have a couple trouble spots over here, but I have a car parked here and it kind of blocks the sun from getting over here, so that's kind of going to be expected to happen with an area like that. Also, it's still the beginning of the season, so all the grass hasn't woken up. Some parts are warmer than others, as you saw from the first clip, but overall it's looking really good. So here's the part right in front of the house. I mean, this is nice and thick over here. It looks really good. So next thing we're doing is we're gonna go ahead and walk over into the backyard and see how that looks. It's a little bit of a different story back there. My dogs kind of put a hurting on that over the winter. So let's go ahead and see how that looks. So here's a culprit right here. She's the one who likes to run and chase shadows. So all day, every day, she's running, creating paths and whatnot. I mean, hey, this is the dog's backyard, this isn't mine. So over here, it didn't come in very well. It's dark, it's shaded. It also holds a lot of moisture, and this is where they like to, see people when they walk by and whatnot. So they run through here a lot. We get a lot of foot traffic in this area. She decided to make a nice trench, not necessarily a trench, but more like a pathway through here, going back to the concrete patio over here, which is where she likes to run to go check people that are walking in front of the house. So this was a full, complete burn down and reseed last fall. Other than the fact that, I mean, do I need to say any more about what happens to this yard on a daily basis? So, hey Stella. So a lot of it came in really good, actually. I don't really have any complaints with the seed itself. It's more the fact that there was so much traffic that it couldn't keep up. So I have your typical, urination spots where they like to go to the bathroom, especially in the winter time when they didn't want to get too far away from the house. So you'll see, like, over in this area, it came in pretty good, but towards the house, it's a little bit different. It's much thinner over here. So I was toying with the idea of trying to overseed this area, during the spring and see what happens. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as it is, wait until the fall time, and go ahead and overseed this whole area. I do need to get my pre-emergent down, so if I were to put down my grass seed, the grass seed wouldn't grow because the pre-emergent doesn't care if it's grass seed or weed seed. It will stop whatever it is from growing. So, weighing my options, I think I'm just going to go ahead and put down my pre-emergent the best I can and hope that I don't really get any crabgrass growing. The main reason why I killed this all off in the first place was because I had a whole bunch of Bermuda that was growing in this area, and it spread out to the tree over here and back to this tree over here in this corner. So I had to burn it all down, start all over again. If you have a dog, you'll notice that some patches, like over here, it's kind of hard to see, are greener, and then in the middle of it there'll be a little burn spot. That's where there was too much nitrogen focused in one area, and then as the nitrogen spread out, it helped the grass grow. So it was basically like, fertilizers, just urea fertilizer, just in a stronger concentration in some areas. But where there's too much nitrogen, you get these nice burn spots, and of course the grass is not going to grow there, and I have those pretty much scattered throughout this whole front area. The backside isn't too bad, but either way, this is kind of what we're working with. I mean, like I said, for a full renovation, it turned out very well, but this is just from my dog's use and abuse, and I guess not really maintaining it, especially over the winter. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and put down our pre-emergent to get this under control. As you saw, the temperatures are creeping up to about 55 degrees. Your window for putting down pre-emergent is typically between 50 and 55 degrees, so you want to get out there. It's better late than never. If you're over 55 degrees, it's okay. I mean, go ahead and put it down. But I'm at right around 50, 51, 52, some places high 40s. So I think today would be as good a day as any to put down some pre-emergent. We surprisingly don't have very much wind for Kansas for for once, which is surprising. So I'm gonna take advantage of this opportunity that I have and go through and put down my pre-emergent. So let's go ahead and see what we're gonna be putting down today, and we'll spray this out, and then maybe I'd say I'll give it a couple of days after I water it in. Then I'm gonna go ahead and do my first mow. The first mow will actually be just kind of cleaning up some of the debris that's left over here from the winter. Let's go ahead and see what we're gonna put down today, and we'll get to applying some spray. So as I had mentioned, we're gonna be putting out our chemicals for today. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be adding our prodiamine. Also, we're gonna be adding our root ruckus from GS Plant Foods. We're gonna go with some baby shampoo, and all that's gonna get mixed right into that Ryobi backpack spray that you see off to the right. So as you see right here, this is gonna be our prodiamine we're gonna use. This is a granular that is actually mixed with water and it dissolves, and you can spray it out through your backpack sprayer. So in my previous videos, I mentioned that there's also an alternative to this that you can get from your local big box stores. They sell in a bag. It doesn't cover nearly as much as this jug of prodiamine will cover. This will last me a very long time, as opposed to the bags which you have to keep buying every single year. I bought this maybe 2 years ago, and I still have, I'd say, like 90% of what's ever in that jug. This jug costs a little bit more, but in the long run, it'll last you a lot longer than whatever you can get from the big box store. So I recommend picking this up. I think I got this one off of Amazon. So the way you measure this out is you have to measure it out with a scale. So you measure all that into the scale. So I have a little spoon and a little Tupperware bowl that I'm going to be using to measure it out on. And then the rate that you're going to be putting this down into your backpack sprayer is going to be 5.2 grams per thousand. So since I'm doing 4,000 square feet in the front, I'm going to do, we'll just say 21, just since this is 0.2, it'll be a little easier to measure out that way. So we'll say 21 grams are going to go into the front application, and then 21 in the back. So let's go ahead and measure that out and see what it looks like when you actually measure it. So as I said, we'll measure out about 21 grams of this prodiamine, and then I'm just going to scoop it out. So this is what it looks like. So as I said, I mean, it's probably only been used up to like maybe here. So this will last me a really long time. All right, as you see, we're now at 21 grams. It's basically about, what, almost a little under two tablespoons. So the next product we'll be adding to our mix tank is going to be this root ruckus from GS Plant Foods. So if you're not familiar with root ruckus, basically what it is just a mix of organic sea kelp and humic acid with some fungi and some other ingredients mixed into it. It's supposed to be all natural. It's pretty comparable to some of the other basically like humic acid that you'll find from other vendors, but this actually comes at a really good price, and it comes from Amazon. I think I got this bottle for maybe $30, and it should last me the whole season. So with this root ruckus, you're going to want to apply it at about 3 to 4 ounces per thousand. I usually go on the higher side, about 4 ounces per thousand. So this basically, it's not a fertilizer of any sort. Basically all it does is that it helps the microbial action down in the soil to help your plants intake nutrients better. And the last but not least, the ingredient that we're going to be putting in this mix is going to be baby shampoo. I've made a video about this before. So why I'm going to be using the baby shampoo is basically because it hasn't really rained, or we haven't had any really significant moisture in probably the last couple of months. So what this does is it helps break the surface tension of the soil and helps you absorb more water into the ground itself, which is where you want it. We have issues here with our clay soil where we'll add water and it'll just pool up and kind of just run off. So this actually helps get the soil loosened up a little bit to be able to absorb nutrients a little bit better. So what I'm gonna do is just add a couple squirts of it into the tank. I mean, you can't really hurt anything if you add too much or put too little in. So that's kind of how I measure that one. All the products are gonna be mixed into this Ryobi backpack sprayer, which I've had for a couple of years. All the products will be going through this T-Jet air induction nozzle. So I usually use this for the most part because it makes bigger droplets, which gets down to the soil better than if you use the finer mist. Let's go ahead and get this all mixed up and then actually do some applications. So I've been trying to mix all my products together in a 5-gallon bucket as opposed to mixing it inside my mixer. I feel like you can reach areas better when you do the mixing inside a 5-gallon bucket instead of trying to fit it through the smaller orifice in the backpack sprayer. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add each of my products into this 5-gallon bucket. I have some water in the bottom and maybe about a gallon of it, and then I'm going to do my mixing in here, and then I'm pouring it in my backpack sprayer. We're going to put prodiamine. So we're going to add about 2 cups of root ruckus into this as well. Here's our 2 cups. So you want to make sure that you hold off on putting in the baby shampoo before or until after you go ahead and mix it, because you're going to make a whole lot of bubbles and whatnot. So we're going to put the baby shampoo in next, and then we'll just lightly mix it inside there, and then we're going to pour it into the backpack sprayer and get to spraying. Top off whatever you have in your backpack sprayer to the 4-gallon mark for my application, and then we'll get to spraying. Alright, so that's going to do it for the front yard application. So I'm going to do the backyard as well. It's the exact same process, exact same square footage. So one thing I recommend doing is before you do any kind of soil changes or anything, or adding any fertilizer, is doing a soil test. So I did a soil test the last couple of years in a row, and my soil tests have almost always been the same. So if you get pretty much the same type of results with your soil test, you don't have to do it every single year. It's just a kind of a guide for you to know what you should actually be putting down. So what I'm gonna be doing is probably using that ammonium sulfate I was using last year, and I think that's probably gonna be the trick for me, as well as the other products that I have to use. Once you're done putting out your pre-emergent, one thing I also recommend doing is kind of going over your sidewalks and your driveway areas maybe twice. So the heat will break down the prodiamine faster than it will in your grassy areas because of the concrete from the sun making radiant heat off of it and breaking it down. So I recommend, if you have anything left over in your backpack sprayer, to go around your perimeter twice and maybe give a little extra love over to your neighbors, especially if they don't take care of their grass. So the main reason behind putting down the prodiamine is to keep crabgrass away. So I typically do one application in the spring, which is right about now, and then I do another one probably the beginning of summer, so that way I have double protection, which is also called a split application. And if you're planning on doing any kind of overseeding during the fall or spring, you do not want to put down your pre-emergent, because as I said, this will make it so that your grass seed doesn't grow either. So it's either one or the other. Either you put down prodiamine or you put down your grass seed. I recommend doing your grass seed in the fall, prodiamine in the spring and summer. So if you guys don't mind, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the backyard. Front yard's done. It's pretty much the same thing for the backyard. It's cookie cutter. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix up my product, and then I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. The next video is probably gonna be me fixing the roller on the back of the Time Master, as well as doing our first cut. So hopefully you guys come around for the next video, and if you feel so inclined, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys later. Take care.